Greetings, family. It is Empress D, and I have a very important message today. This message is a cry for help, okay? I'm crying for help from Ontario, Canada, and I'm reaching out to the international community for help. Our country, Canada, has been infiltrated, and it is not what they purport it to be. It's supposed to be a free democracy, but what has been happening is quite the opposite. There are many bills and laws that they are trying to pass that will restrict our right to speak freely and our right to express ourselves. One thing that we know for certain with many of the court judgments that have been happening in Canada, more specifically Ontario, Canada, these decisions are very indicative that our court system has been hijacked and infiltrated and co-opted. It's no longer functioning as it was built and intended to. You know what? Let's put it this way. On paper, on paper, the courts are supposed to keep the government in check. That's what they're there for. They're there for if the public have concerns about the abuse of power from our government officials, that there is a recourse for us to hold them accountable. But unfortunately, the judicial system in Canada is full of bias. And I will say, right now, there is a multitude and a plethora of evidence to support the fact that the courts, at least in Ontario, Canada, are biased. Now, we have all of this evidence. We've got so much evidence of cases that if you actually compare the judge's decision document to the evidence that's filed for the case, that the judge was supposed to refer to in order to formulate their decision document, there is obvious evidence of judicial bias. So we have all of this evidence, family, but what can we do with it? There's nowhere to go with it because the court system is the actual place that you are supposed to be able to receive justice. But unfortunately, as I've said over and over, they are not functioning as they're intended to. But some might argue that they're functioning exactly as they're intended to, and that they've always been designed in order to have this sort of monopoly. Nonetheless, on Piapa, they are supposed to work for us, and there are so many more of us than there are of them, family. And I will always remind us of such, okay? And that of the fact that we have free will, and of the fact that we are allowed to make decisions for ourselves that is based in our best interest. And we are not required by universal law to listen to any other men, okay, outside of ourselves. Family, the thing is, and the sad thing is that I realize in speaking to many people that not a lot of people think that way. They, in fact, have, a lot of people are of the mindset of, well, we live in the society, we just have to do what we're told. And, I guess it's to each their own, right? But I don't know that that is the attitude and the intention that our Creator had for us, especially if we wanted to be living in on our highest timeline, right? Again, everybody is here to be on their own journey, to make their own choices, and and to live as they choose to live. And if you love this system and you want to stay a part of it, then by all means, that's your absolute choice and desire. I would never, people listen, people have to be free to do what they think is best for them, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have to live out the consequences of our choices. And so it's only fair to allow people to choose independently, because they will independently have to be um, um, living the result of what they chose, right? So family, that's what's up. I just wanted to shed some light on the fact that this country, Canada, it is not what it appears to be. And right now on the global stage, we're pretty quiet. Of course, we've got the orange person being, I don't even know, the orange situation next door. And one thing that we can say for certain is that not only in the US of A, but in lots of different countries, there is presently a lot of political, I shouldn't say political, a lot of civil unrest, or civil dissatisfaction with the governmental structures of their respective cities, countries, states, so on. There's a lot of people on the planet that are not happy with their government systems. And that is a commonality that I see across the globe, especially in the Western countries, more specifically the Five Eyes, right? We've got obvious madness going on in the US of A. We've got New Zealand and Australia. I'm fortunate to be in contact with people out there, and listen to me, they have it pretty bad out there too. In New Zealand and in Australia. I spoke about the US, and it's obvious with their Epstein situation and their warmongering and all the kind of madness that's going on over there. The majority of the citizens are not down with what's going on, and the choices that their governmental figures are making in the US. And in the United Kingdom, I don't, they really censor and minimize the amount that we see about what's going on in other places in the globe. You have to actively search for it. But for what I know, there is unrest. A lot of people are not happy with their leaders out in the United Kingdom as well. So the Five Eyes. And so I mentioned all four of them, except for the place that I live in, and I want to talk about them last. Now, nobody's really talking about us over here in Canada, our leader, so-called leader. Can you imagine this individual that's so-called in charge of this country seems so meek, and, even at times may even seem like he's trying to make movements to situate Canada on the global stage in a favorable way. But I'm not fooled for a second, and I in fact, yeah, I know that this individual entity, being, whatever you want, however you want to refer to him as, is as nefarious as they come, and has no good planned for those that are living on this part of the earth that we call Canada. And so I think that this country will be no different. I think that it's just the quiet before the storm. There's a lot that is sour in this country, and something's got to give, right, family? The Most High. I believe in our Creator. I do, and I know that our Creator's got our back. And there's a limit, and to the diabolicalness. There really is, and I really think that there's enough of us vibrating at a high enough frequency to make things to take things away heading in a direction that's not serving to the majority of us family. Anyway, I'm just the eternal optimist. That's just me. But so that's what's up, family. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how things are transpiring in the area that I live in, and I think it's important that we share this kind of stuff, family, because it's obvious that they don't want us to know what's going on different parts of the planet, because if we would realize that a lot of us are going through the same thing. But again, this is prophesized, and there's another prophecy, and I've said it a few times in videos, that once the governments all begin to fail is when we will come to learn that we are not alone. So just thought I'd drop that little gem again, family. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to listen to this message, family. Get out in nature, get on that journey to getting to know yourself, getting to love yourself, getting to learn yourself, getting to heal yourself, right? This planet is not easy, and it's filled with trauma. And so we all kind of have to heal from that. And so getting out in nature is a great way to start. So yeah, I'm always going to pitch that. Thank you for taking the time to listen, family. I love and I value each and every one of you. One love.